WrestleMania 31. It was a job well done, apart from the fact that there was too much sun. It's WrestleMania 31 on the WrestleReview now! Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the unexpected third episode of the WrestleReview. If you were expecting a review of WrestleMania 2 from this episode, I'm sorry, because we've decided to take a contemporary detour for the moment and review WrestleMania 31 from Sunday night. But don't worry, the WrestleMania 2 review is coming soon in episode 4. Wherever you're listening from, whether it be YouTube or SoundCloud, be sure to like, repost, share and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and send feedback and comments to WrestleReviewFans@gmail.com. Before we get on to the event, I'd like to introduce my special guest for today, CM Punk obsessed wrestling fan, Mr. Tom Sinden.
Hello, thank you.
How's it feel to be on the WrestleReview, Tom?
It's good. I've listened to the previous episodes so far, and I'm a fan. I'm enjoying them. So yeah, it's nice to be on.
Yeah, and a few other thanks to give out as well. I need to thank WrestleRap, God, it's hard to say, for favouriting my tweet to them regarding the upload of episode 2. And thanks to Pro Wrestle Tees, which I think is a wrestling t-shirt company, for following me. That's that covered, so without further ado, let's get into the nitty-gritty of WrestleMania 31. There's not going to be any background for this week, as you've probably all been aware of any side notes that have been going on that we need to cover if you're a WWE follower. So it's time for the pre-show, and it's time for match 1. So, the first comment I wanted to make was, what did you think of the decision to have what was basically the start of the show on the pre-show?
Yeah, it was a weird one. I suppose,
business, right?
Yeah, I suppose they need to try and, obviously you're trying to sell the network, you need to try and give the fans a taste of what's to come. But I thought that maybe the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, they're trying to push that as such like a big battle royale. Putting it on the pre-show may have hindered that somewhat. But on the whole, I enjoyed the tag match. I think it was pretty decent.
For once, I felt sorry for Sky customers because they'd missed out on what was essentially the start of the show.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, match 1 for the tag titles was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro with Natalya, we might discuss her in a minute,
Yep.
Versus the Usos, who had Naomi with them, Los Matadores with El Torito, and then versus Kofi Kingston and Big E, who had Xavier Woods in their corner. Of course, they're the New Day. To be honest, I can't even really remember much of this match.
I enjoyed it. It had a lot of good spots. The injury to one of the Usos, I think it was Jey Uso, which occurred about a week before the event, meant that Jimmy had to do a lot of the work, and they wrote that in quite well. Cesaro took him out early on, so Jimmy actually had a really good showing, and it's one of the more underrated ones, I think, on the card, because he had to do essentially the entire tag match by himself. But no, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I just remember it being chaotic. I remember Naomi's splash to the outside was quite impressive.
Yeah.
And obviously what Natalya was wearing, we were commenting on. Oh my goodness, it was scary.
Yeah, it was a new look. The commentators... I don't know how I feel about the commentary team at WWE at the moment, but they were sure to point out the confusion that arose from a 4-man tag match, which can occur when you've got so many managers and stuff at ringside as well.
There was a manager. Well, is El Torito a manager? I'm not sure.
He counts.
Yeah. For each of the tag teams, and it really was just chaos. But in the I wasn't that impressed by the finish. Cesaro just kind of tossing out, who did he toss out? Tossed out Jimmy.
I think,
to pick up the win. And apparently there was a tag in there, even though it was hard to spot.
Yeah, he grabbed him as he was going off top rope splash. It's one of those endings which you see so much in those kind of quick tag matches. But Cesaro and Kidd retaining the titles, that can only be good for the division. Both good workers, and excited to see where they go.
I must admit they were the only team I wanted to win this match, so I was quite happy. Your winners by pinfall, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. I've given this one 3 out of 5 stars. Tom has gone for 3.5 stars out of 5. Yeah,
like I said, I thought there was a few underrated performances. Someone like Cesaro showed a lot of aggression. I'm a big fan of that. Tyson Kidd, I thought, did quite well. I love their the giant swing into the drop kick from Tyson Kidd. It's one of my favourite moves going at the moment. And like I said, Jimmy Uso did quite well as well. The New Day, not that big a fan. I'd cut that gimmick if I was Vince right now. But, there was enough in there for me.
I shouldn't even be rating that because I just don't really remember it. It's so chaotic. Right, yeah, so that was match 1. On to kickoff show match 2. Yes, you also missed this, Sky Box Office customers. You probably caught it on some illegal stream, didn't you? Kickoff show match 2 was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Big build-up for this one. We thought there were going to be less people in it than there were because they sent the tag team competitors out again.
Yeah, they started off saying it was going to be 30, like when they first announced it, and then obviously last year it was 31, and then they kind of cut it and said 20, and then they just sent all 8 men. I don't know if the other Uso actually went out, but most of the tag team competitors were in it again. So we had a lot of 30, I think, by the end.
Once again, this match was more organised chaos because there wasn't a lot they could do in the ring with how many people there were. This is why I'm not a great fan of Battle Royals. But yeah, I think we should talk about the start of it. A huge build-up for Curtis Axel before this event. Some people saying he was going to win.
A dark horse.
A dark horse. He's such a dark horse. But yeah, he was eliminated straight away after ripping the Axelmania shirt off, and they all picked him up and threw him down in a similar segment to I think it was Mohammed Hassan in one of the Royal Rumbles, who was dumped out. He had that weird terrorist gimmick, obviously. It's WWE. Any spots from this that particularly stood out before we get to the end?
I think more storylines, to be honest. Obviously, you had the Mizdow storyline, which had been building up really for, I don't know, the better part of 6 months, I'd imagine. They had the stunt double going on to the personal assistant role. Also, I'm a big fan of NXT. It was nice to see Hideo Itami get in. Obviously, he was Kenta, and I think it was New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it was cool to see him get in. I really thought that spot was going to go to Adrian Neville, but he actually, I don't want to do any spot, but he debuted last night on Raw. So it's nice to see a lot of the NXT guys getting their call up. But in terms of spots now, I think obviously the Mizdow eliminating the Miz was probably the biggest moment, and also the Axel elimination.
There isn't really a lot you can do in a Battle Royal because it's just so ridiculous the amount of people.
Oh, actually, the double kick, Fandango, I can't remember who else the other one was, but there was a kick, they're both men standing on the apron, they both kicked each other, that was quite good. You get a nice little fun spot every now and again, but on the whole, it's just organised chaos, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the order of elimination was Axel, Rose, Fandango, Alex Riley, Zack Ryder, Bo Dallas, Hideo Itami, did I say it right?
Hideo Itami, yeah.
I haven't actually seen him yet on NXT. Diego, Fernando, Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, Mark Henry, Connor, Victor, Darren Young, Heath Slater, Titus O'Neil, Jack Swagger, Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Eric Rowan, Goldust Kane, Uso, Cesaro, Ryback, and then we got down to the 3.
Yep.
The Miz, Mizdow, and Big Show. Mizdow, of course, finally having enough of the Miz's controlling nature. And throwing him over the top.
Yeah, that was good. Actually, I was just thinking the spot with Big Show and the New Day was quite good. Actually, he eliminated all 3 members. They got him very close. I think he had to skin the cat at one point. Almost, it was that was a good spot. But yeah, the Mizdow Miz thing was really. I'm a bit disappointed that towards the Mizdow didn't get the win. Really, he probably needed it more than Big Show. JBL was right to point out that Big Show had never won a Battle Royal, and I thought that was quite interesting, considering he's always portrayed as this, giant, and he's never going to be...
Well, he's not, but he is a giant.
No, but I mean, like, a giant task, if you like.
It's a secret midget.
someone controlling a robot inside of him. But I thought Mizdow probably could have used the win more, because I'm a bit nervous now that they're just going to have their match at Extreme Rules, and then it's going to kind of become an afterthought. He's got so much, support with the universe at the moment that I feel like they could really develop that character into somewhat of a mid-card champion if they wanted to.
I remember Kane's double chokeslam was pretty good as well.
Yeah, best double chokeslam we've seen in a while.
Yeah, best thing Kane's done in about 5 years.
5?
10. So eventually Big Show picked up the win. I thought this may have been a little kind of death to Chris Benoit kind of thing maybe going on here, because it was a very similar finish to the 04 Rumble, where Benoit eventually kind of choked out Big Show. Except Big Show won. Big Show won this time, so...
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that was a little, I don't know, FU?
Well, it could be... I think, I don't know where I took this from, but someone was saying that if you put Big Show to be this big thing, he might be in it again next year. Obviously, there's so many similarities between himself and Andre. You could have him going up in the final 2 again next year, and whoever knocks him out, a la Cesaro last year, can hopefully do a better job than what they allowed Cesaro to do with it in the first year of it.
Yep, so that was the second match of the pre-show, start of the show. I've given this one a 3. You couldn't really ask for any more from a Battle Royal, to be honest. Tom's gone for the 2.5.
Yeah, like I said, I thought if they'd given it the win to Mizdow, it would have gone up more, but I thought that they probably went the wrong way with this in terms of story.
Yes, so that was the end of the pre-show, and hello to Sky Box Office customers now, who out of heartache have skipped this, they had to skip the show obviously, and have skipped 10 minutes of this podcast in order to get to the show that they actually were able to watch.
Yes.
So the show began with Aloe Black singing America the Beautiful, fairly decent a cappella, I think it was a cappella, wasn't it?
Version that was.
Of America the Beautiful. If you don't know, he's of course the I Need a Dollar and I'm the Man. First look at the set here, looks pretty cool, apart from the fact that it was still sunny, and we're going to get on to more of the sun as we progress.
Hopefully less of the sun.
Yeah, well, it will be less of the sun, but I have some... Well, I shouldn't have reservations about the good weather, but can you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
maybe?
no, I agree.
Then we got a 2-minute video narrated by, for some reason, LL Cool J. What was the reasoning behind this?
I don't know. I know that he's doing a new show on the Spike Network, which I'm now promoting, which is the Lip Sync Battle show. He's got people he has got The Rock on there, so obviously there's a few connections on there, but I have no idea why he was doing it personally.
I mean, it should have been someone connected to wrestling, really, shouldn't it?
Vince.
Some old timer. Yeah, I would have been happy to see Vince do it. He talked about evolution and something about social networking or whatever. And that's where the play symbol came into play.
It all sounded very profound, but I'm not sure that any of it really was, to be honest.
Yeah. Classic musician, superficial profoundness.
Yeah.
We cut to Levi Stadium. It's looking massive, obviously. I think it looked particularly massive this year, the stadium.
Yeah, it's weirdly... It's got kind of like... parts of it are slightly higher than other parts. You can kind of see out of it almost, which makes it just much bigger feeling. But it looked good.
Yeah, and then we got on to match 1 after we had our introductions from the usual team of Michael Cole, the legend that is JVL, and the once great commentator, now absolute buffoon on commentary, Jerry Lawler. So match 1, it was the IC title ladder match. That's Intercontinental if you don't know wrestling. And it was the champion Bad News Barrett against Daniel Bryan, who got a massive reception when he came out.
Yep.
Dolph Ziggler, who also got big reception. Stardust, people still don't know what to think. Luke Harper, who obviously no one responded to. R-Truth, who wasn't allowed to do his... does he still do his...
and song sometimes, but I mean recently he's just been kind of running on and either stealing the Intercontinental title or giving it to someone, so he hasn't really had time.
I would have loved to have heard everyone being like, what's up? In the...
Well, if they had responded. They're a bit tired out from Daniel Bryan's yes chant.
Yeah, probably. And also the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. Is he still called the Lunatic Fringe? Are they still rolling him up?
He got a big reception, actually. He was probably on par with someone like Ziggler.
Right. Okay, yeah, so start of this one, it was kind of a very similar contest to the old Money in the Bank matches from Mania. Some obvious spots to talk about here. I mean, Stardust getting suplexed. Who was that by?
Bad News Barrett.
Was it Barrett?
Yeah.
I thought Stardust took that insanely well.
Yeah.
And obviously Dean Ambrose, Jeff Hardy style and Sin Cara style.
Sin Cara every year at Money in the Bank gets put through a ladder.
Went through the ladder. Anything else you wanted to...
not so much a spot as necessarily just like a little bit of it. The glittery ladder. A lot of people tend to forget about that, but
this was down.
The glittery ladder by Stardust was a nice little touch. It was the fact that he got it and just like immediately it was gone. Like I think Bad News Barrett came in, stamped through it so it couldn't be used, and then just started beating people up with one of the rungs.
And then there was like dangerous bits of glitter all all over the mat.
Bejewelment everywhere.
I thought the ending was awesome as well between Bryan and Ziggler, the headbutt battle.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you haven't watched Raw, go and do so. But they had a really good match on Raw the night afterwards, and that was then Bad News Barrett was on commentary, and then Sheamus came out, interrupted that, and it looks like there might be a really good kind of fatal four-way going on between those two. We know that Barrett and Sheamus work really well together from their history. Bryan and Ziggler are probably unable to have a bad match at this point in their career, so
can't they just have an Iron Man, please?
so that's looking good. It's looking good for the moment for the Intercontinental.
This was a really strong opening. Perhaps not quite as good as some of the Money in the Bank ladder matches we've seen in the past. I've given a 4 to this one, as has Tom. Great way to get the crowd going, really. That's all I can say.
Yeah, really strong starter. It's smart to do something like that, and also you can imagine that in the back of their heads, having seen what's happened at the Rumble and previous Manias and stuff, how the fans have been hijacking it recently. It's smart of WWE to get kind of Bryan out the way, if you like, and then there's almost like 3 more hours of wrestling before you have the main event, which so many fans wanted him in. So
yeah, there you go. Daniel Bryan wins. Of course, I was upset that my man Dolph didn't pick up the victory, but
probably the right decision, I think.
Damn. Then we got a commercial for WWE's new deal with Tap Out. Oh wow, no one gives a shit. And we got the video package for Orton against Rollins, blah blah, Authority, blah blah. And yeah, we were on to match 2. Seth Rollins with J&J Security, Mr. Jamie Noble, and former drug addict and M&M member Joey Mercury against Randy Orton. This for me was just kind of a classic, early Mania match, punctuated by, of course, what was a fantastic finish. What did you make of this match?
It was one of those ones where it had the potential to be a show stealer, but you can imagine I don't know, having followed the Intercontinental match, all the fans were so invested in that, and then obviously there's things to come in the show involving someone certain involved. Obviously, we'll leave that for a bit later on. That maybe the heart wasn't in it. The heart wasn't in it as much. I liked Orton's gear. I thought that was quite a nice little throwback. Because if you're thinking about the whole storyline is Orton used to be the future. He was Triple H's protege. Now you've got that with Rollins. So Orton's going back almost to his early days as well, where he's the legend killer, like 2004 sort of thing, over 10 years ago. So that was good, yeah. He kept those pads on last night as well.
Oh, did he keep the pads on?
Yeah, not different gear, different trunks, but same pads.
Yeah, red trunks and the pads were cool. That was awesome, and then obviously the finish.
Finish was good.
What to say, really? Possibly, well, not the moment of Mania with what happened, but it was looking like being.
In terms of in-ring ability, there wasn't much that punctuated that. And I mean, even you just watch it. You could put that on a Vine. Just watch that for 6 seconds on repeat. I could sit there for a good hour or two. Just watch it. It was so smooth as well. Yeah.
So if you didn't see it, Seth Rollins went for his curb stomp. Went so high in the air when Orton flicked him up, and then Orton hit the RKO for the win. After he disposed, unsurprisingly, of Noble and Mercury.
Yeah.
We've both gone for the same here, both as 3.5. Really reminded me, there was a couple of matches in 28 that I found similar to this, do you remember Big Show against Cody Rhodes and then Kane v Orton?
I was thinking Kane v Orton. Big Show versus Cody Rhodes was one of the most throwaway matches that's ever happened at Mania, just because Cody Rhodes was kind of in the midst of such a good run as Intercontinental Champion. I don't know if he'd lost it before that, but I know that he'd held it for quite a long time. And then they just kind of played on the fact that Big Show had never had a Mania moment, which is obviously true. And then they were just like, we'll just give it to him at the expense of Cody Rhodes, which is not dissimilar to what they've done in the pre-show with his former partner. And
there were other matches on. Well, it happens in every Mania, but especially Rhodes v Mysterio, which I think was at 25.
Yeah.
And Punk Mysterio the next year, I think.
Yeah, Punk Mysterio.
Similar matches to that.
Punk Orton as well. Just one of those, there's nothing really at stake. It's just kind of settling a rivalry, and obviously Mania is the place to culminate those feuds.
Yeah, that was match 2, and now, oh my goodness. We're almost on to match 3. There are a few things before that. First of all, they showed a UFC Bantamweight champion, Ronda Rousey at ringside. Remember her for later on. And she had a couple of friends with her. What are they called?
The 4 Horsewomen.
The 4 Horsewomen, that's quite cool. We get a massive long video package to set up this huge match. 2 icons. Triple H against Sting. And then Sting came to the ring. Now this is the first time I'm going to have a go at the Sun for existing here, because it's Sting. Maybe I'll have a go at the booking more.
Sting's original gimmick was Surfer.
Yeah, I know.
He's in California.
He's that's the scary Sting here.
That's the dream.
So Sting comes out. Well, he came out after we had some, I think, what would be described as Oriental drumming and gong hitting.
Yeah, there was one guy who wasn't. They were all in Sting face paint.
Oh yeah, there was one guy.
There was just one guy at the front who wasn't. I didn't know whether there was anything significant about it. If anyone knows and they're listening in, could you let us know? But yeah, there was just one guy who wasn't for some reason.
Sting came out in an awesome overcoat, and then he just had his classic Stinger gear on, obviously his face paint. And then we got to what I can't decide whether was an awesome entrance or the cheesiest entrance in Mania history.
Can it be both?
It can be, because I feel like the Arnie bit was cheesy, like the red eye was a bit crap. But like Triple H with the Terminator arms and the Terminators around him was that was pretty cool. Of course, they've got a partnership with what is the next Terminator called?
Terminator Genesis, I think.
Is it spelled like Genesis?
It's got like a Y thrown in there and like some errant eyes. It's all very odd.
Yeah.
But of course, Arnie was inducted into the Hall of Fame the night before, which is why.
For no reason, as celebrities often are.
Well, he was on a few episodes of Raw and SmackDown.
He has less reason to go in than Donald Trump, who hosted 2 Manias, and people booed him less.
Well, I think it's just the relationship. And Triple H did get inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame as well earlier this year, possibly by Arnie. So there's might be a bit of scratch my back, I'll scratch yours sort of thing.
Oh, well, that's a great Hall of Fame, isn't it?
Are you telling me that the Hall of Fame is based on politics in some way?
So Sting came out, was looking pretty awesome. Trips came out, not as defined as we're used to seeing him, but he is getting on now, so can't he still look absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Opening moments of this match, I remember Sting doing awesome hip lock, which Triple H took really well. I don't know why that's stuck in my mind, but it's just something that was there. And as the match went on, we had the fans chanting "You still got it" for Sting, and then the big moment when it looked like Sting was going to pick up the win. Out comes D-Generation X, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, X-Pac.
Yeah.
What do you make of their inclusion?
Well, okay, so I mean, we're going to reveal obviously like how I scored the match a bit later on, but it's time to come a little bit clean. I didn't really get into wrestling until like at the Summer of Punk. That's why Nathan at the top of the show said that I'm a Punk fan. Like that, he was my first introduction into professional wrestling, and it's kind of what a way to do it. It was one of the best stories really in the last 5 years or so. However, so a lot of the people who I've spoken to or read stuff on regarding Mania 31, they love the nostalgia factor of seeing these people. For me, I've watched back a lot of stuff. I own the network, and I was myself.
You own it?
I own the network. No, sorry, I have a subscription to the network.
He bought it off me.
I've watched a lot of stuff on places where I can, like YouTube. Nathan has a bit of a library going on in his room, and we've worked our way back through various pay-per-views. But they don't have the same sort of nostalgia factor for me, because I wasn't watching it when I was growing up. I appreciate them, but it wasn't anything massive. And another query I have is, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't a no DQ match. I thought it was just a normal match.
I've neglected to mention this already.
I thought it was just a normal match, and I don't know whether it got changed and we just weren't paying attention, but there was a lot that a baseball bat came out, a sledgehammer came out, there was outside interference from DX and another group.
Let's go on to the other group. We weren't even drinking, I don't know, we just maybe didn't hear that there was no DQ. Then in a sort of, I wasn't sure about this, which was part of why I liked it, because the NWA straight up, out came out the NWO. Was Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and the Hulkster, the Pythons.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, but not in the Python gimmick, obviously, in his cool NWO gimmick, which I prefer to Hulkamania.
Hollywood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Controversial. So we weren't actually sure what was going to happen, because Sting had a huge feud with the NWO. I'm not sure he actually ever joined the NWO. There was that weird Wolfpack.
Yeah, so they split up, but at that point it was kind of all lost for WCW, I think, in the Monday night.
The clusterfuck that became WCW.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the defining moment of Sting's career really is his rivalry with the NWO. So they start coming out and everyone's like, hang on, how is Sting going to fend off DX, Triple H, and the NWO?
But it turned out the NWO were here to save whatever dwindling legacy WCW have in the WWE psyche.
Which, really counters the whole I'm not here to fight a war for WCW. At that point, it's so removed.
Yeah.
And then you see, arguably, the defining group of WCW come out and defend the defining star of WCW. And you're like, are we seeing WCW come back here?
It's like Triple H was like, you do give a shit about WCW, you still do, Sting.
I mean, I appreciate how cool it was to see these two groups feud, because obviously it wasn't something which we could really see. We saw them feud across franchises, but you could never see them go one-on-one with each other. So I liked that, but I don't know, it got a bit messy towards the end.
It all got very confusing. Scott Hall, who is not in the best of shape for various reasons, although he has been taking part in DDP's yoga, his emancipating yoga. But yeah, he took a backdrop. Who was that from? Billy Gunn, I think it was.
Hulk Hogan had to take a bump for X-Pac at one point, I think. I was like, why is Hulk Hogan going down for X-Pac? It's Hulk Hogan.
It looked like Nash did his knee in as well, or his quadriceps or something.
Maybe.
I think that was a clothesline by Gunn. And it all got very confusing. Couple of finishes hit. Obviously didn't get the 3 count because it was a Mania match.
Nope.
Out comes... This was a cool spot. So we get, obviously, the baseball bat and the sledgehammer. Hall hands Sting the baseball bat. Did Triple H get the sledgehammer himself, or was it handed to him?
I feel like someone handed it to him. I want to say Nash, but I don't know. I think someone handed it to him.
So yeah, and they've done it like 3 times now. The face-off between the bat and the sledgehammer, and Sting was just like boom, and the sledgehammer broke in half.
Smashed it in half, yeah.
Which was cool. But it stayed in the ring. Sting did one Stinger splash.
He hit one, yeah.
Went for another. And then got boomed with the...
Well, we've forgotten one part as well, was Michael's
goodness.
involvement.
Yeah, well, how could I forget Sean? He's like my fave.
Yeah, so Michael's came out. I can't remember it. Like I said, it all becomes very much of a blur of old men running around the ring. But
it was so late.
Michael's, for us, obviously, UK time, it's a bit different. But Michael's ran out... after DX and after the NWO, so he wasn't in the initial 3-on-3, if you like, and he superkicked Sting. I couldn't get that out. I was about to say superkicked Shawn Michaels.
He kicked himself!
Yeah, he superkicked Sting. Not, unfortunately, straight into a pedigree, I don't think, a la Undertaker match. But it was, Michaels came out, and obviously... so Sting took a few finishes. Sting took a pedigree as well. But he managed, I feel like, considering his age, I think he's 56.
Yeah.
Considering his age, I think 2 finishes and a sledgehammer to the face is enough to take him down.
Yeah. Bloody, I love Sean, but he just always has to steal the fucking limelight.
He always gets involved, yeah. Mr. WrestleMania, you can't have a Mania Vamp. Although, The Rock, 5 now in a row, back to back.
Oh.
Which is, quite a lot.
We'll get there, we'll get there. So yeah, Sting went for a second Stinger splash after everything that had gone on, Sean, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And Trips hit him with half of his sledgehammer, and surprisingly got the 1-2-3. Big shock here.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, again, we spoke about this for the pre-show matches, I thought that they could have gone a different direction here, considering Sting... A lot of the fans from WWE now may not have heard of Sting. Like, you've got all the kids obviously coming in from Cena and stuff. They won't know. And people like me as well, who I've only seen it because I've gone back that far. He was done 14 years ago, and if you're not into TNA, then you won't have seen him.
So good in TNA.
So
that's a very controversial thing to do, to say.
So I wasn't sure about the finish. I thought to kind of like legitimise Sting, they might have had either some outside interference to set up a match from next year, and I don't think he's going to have a match against Shawn Michaels unless something amazing happens. Although it is in Texas, so...
I think it's got to be Taker. It's got to be.
You'd have thought so. But yeah, I thought they would have gone with... I mean, Triple H has a history of putting people over at Mania as well. Like, there's that whole joke that he buries everyone, but at Mania he tends to come good and put people over, like Cena and whoever, Taker. But... yeah, I thought they would have gone another way, but it was an interesting match. It was a fun match, nonetheless.
Yeah, I got way too excited with my rating here and gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I rated after Nathan and saw this, and I disagreed, and I gave it a 3.5, just for, everything.
Oh, well, nostalgia, there you go. I've gone over the top there. So yeah, then we had the post-match thing, which again I wasn't sure about. Like, did they need to do this as a reconciliation thing between all the factions?
Yeah, I wonder again if this is just to symbolise Triple H and Sting shook hands. That they had kind of like a face-off, the DX faction versus the Sting and NWO faction. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to kick off again," but obviously there was no real merit to it kicking off again. It had been throughout the entire match, despite the fact this was just a standard match with disqualifications, and there was a sweet chin music from Michaels and a sledgehammer to the face. I don't know where the ref was at this stage, having a coffee or something. But yeah, they shook hands.
You carry on.
They shook hands. I don't know if that's just meant to symbolise WWE and WCW settling their differences. I feel like that happened a while ago, but it was just... It's one of those things.
Despite the reconciliation, JBL decided to keep saying, "We won again!"
Yeah.
as they shook hands. So then we had some more commercials for the expanding content of what is now looking like actually becoming a success. The WWE Network. Are you enjoying the network? I'm loving it.
I am, yeah. I feel like I'm not using it as much as I should. But obviously,
welcome to capitalism.
In terms of pay-per-views, I've had to buy. We've done WrestleMania around mine a few times, and I've had to buy the pay-per-views. Obviously, it's nice to get them for £9.99. Of course, that in £9.99 in Britain, that is £9.99.
Yeah.
Which is not $9.99 in America. So I think WWE probably need to sort that out at some point. Maybe $6.66 or something in Britain. But
that's the devil's number.
It's WWE.
Do that to all the Republican fans.
But yeah, you know, $6.67 maybe. Just something to sort. But yeah, I am enjoying the network, and I think it's, despite a shaky start, is starting to come good.
Yeah, they announced, I think it was yesterday, 1.3 subscribers now on the network.
1.3 million,
yeah, 1.3 million. But not sure.
Just a little girl, almost, not really a whole human yet.
Yeah, and that is with, I think that's 900,000 who are paying at the moment, and then people who have signed up for April.
Yeah, the people who wanted Mania, essentially.
Yeah, are will add to the number if they decide to carry on, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got some commercials for the content. Camp WWE. Well, WWE's always been a bit camp, hasn't it? Which is looking like some kind of weird Family Guy, Bob's Burgers adult comedy. Maybe.
It had
Seth Green.
Seth Green. Yeah. I mean, obviously he knows his way around cartoons, so
it looked terrible.
It might be one of the. They had a really good mini series, and I can't remember what it's called. And they literally one episode of it, and they had Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar and a few people just kind of in this cartoon thing, and they discontinued it. But I found it quite funny. So if they kind of follow that sort of theme, then it could be decent.
Do they still do Slam? Is it Slam City?
Slam City. I don't know. I know we've watched a few episodes of that, and we're like, what are we watching?
It's really trippy, but quite boring. And we had a show advertised called Swerved, which I wasn't really paying attention to do with some production by Jackass.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some. It was combining the people who had done Jackass with WWE to make some sort of it's too PG for. Was that it's too PG for?
No, that's ever controversial Jerry Springer's show, Too Hot for TV.
And also in new
too PG for TV.
New slightly outside the network, Gene Simmons, the frontman of Kiss. This time it is Gene Simmons who I'm talking about, not Bill Simmons. Gene Simmons is working with WWE to do some movies, like some horror movies as well.
Oh, that's going to be awful.
Lots of entrepreneurial spirit from WWE recently.
It could be as bad as Kane's See No Evil film, which is just terrible.
And See No Evil 2.
I still like the fact Jerry Springer hosts 2 PG for TV. That'd be so boring. And there's also going to be another Divas search. I don't think they've done one of these for about 10 years. But
I know Eve won one, and I think Layla.
Oh yeah, so maybe they did. Maybe about 7 years ago was the last one.
Yeah, it's not been on for a while though. But I mean, I suppose it's because they've had no slot for it. If you like, obviously in a network which they run, I feel like they could probably muster out something of Legends House or something and put it on.
And they'll try and pretend the divas are all empowering and then dress them up in scantily clad clothing, obviously.
Yeah, the dream.
Yeah, that's what it'll be.
Natalia, pre-show era sort of thing.
Then we cut backstage to Maria Menounos. When has she not been at WrestleMania?
Again, she's probably been there for about 5 years now as well.
Backstage in a Bushwhackers t-shirt, and we get an interview with the new Intercontinental Champion, Daniel Bryan. He says it's great, incredible. Pat Patterson congratulates him. Then Roddy Piper comes in. He says every time he thinks he's got all the answers, Bryan changes the questions. He kisses him on the head. In comes Steamboat, who obviously still looks awesome.
Yeah, still awesome. We want a match between those two at some point. Bryan Steamboat, 32, pencil it in.
If only Bryan could travel back in time, but there you go. Also congratulated him and said the match ranked up there with the match he had with the Macho Man.
Yeah, it didn't. It was very enjoyable, but it wasn't WrestleMania 3 quality, if you like.
Yeah, then Ric Flair showed up and did a crazy woos. It was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
He slapped the Steamboat, who clearly had no idea that he was about to get slapped. He kind of looked down, like half pissed off, but kind of like, what the hell is going on here?
The chop to Steamboat. Then Bret Hart came in, who was looking the best I've seen him in a long time.
Yep.
Congratulated Bryan and said to think of one word to describe. Sorry, where am I here? And they said they needed to think of one word to describe the feeling. And they all chanted yes together.
No, yeah, it was yes.
And then obviously Ron Simmons showed up and damn, yeah.
Classic. That's happened at WrestleMania for a few years now as well.
And then they went back to chanting yes. Then we have the musical performance, aka the halftime show, which is a thing they've been doing probably since Kid Rock did that terrible performance.
Yeah.
Where John Morrison, I almost said Jim Morrison then.
Jim Morrison.
That's who it was
that would have
based
been
on.
a good halftime show.
Where John Morrison and The Miz didn't get to be on the pay-per-view because of Kid Rock.
Yeah, well, they had that as well. The Rhodes Scholars and the Bellas versus... Oh, who was it? It was the Funkadactyls and the A-Train, not A-Train, Lord Albert, not Lord Albert, Tensai, him, and Brodus Clay. That got kicked from the show because they ran long, probably.
Lord Alfred Hayes.
Lord Alfred Hayes.
I'd love to see a performance with Lord Alfred. Oh, I don't know.
Well, they got kicked as well, so it is something. And I feel like that's probably why they moved the Andre one as well, because that was announced on the day, I think, that it was going pre-show. So I don't know. I'm not massive on the musical things, but I see why they do it.
Yeah, so it was Travis Barker, Skylar Grey, and Kidding. Yeah, so that was
good.
about fun.
I liked that.
Yeah, we just get on with the wrestling. Cole, Laura, and JBL promoted the Mountain Dew bottles. WWE loves their sponsors, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then they showed troops in Washington, obviously because it's WWE. When they were watching the show, America. We're going to get to America a bit later on.
There's
as well.
some great American propaganda coming on the bit.
Yeah. And then the Divas were up. Paige and AJ Lee. So Paige was in some slightly new outfit, black, and some purple added in. Obviously, we have to talk about the outfits.
Oh, yeah,
the Divas.
Obviously.
And then the Bella Twins in their usual gear. And Nikki, obviously, is the Divas champion. So, yeah, Paige and AJ Lee versus Nikki and Brie Bella. What I liked about this match was the idea that AJ Lee didn't get into it for ages. Not that I dislike AJ Lee, I just thought it was a good, interesting way to...
Yeah, it's Paige's debut Mania as well, so it's good to give her... Obviously, she was being beaten down for a lot.
She looked way too emotional throughout.
She loved it. But it was good to give her a bit of the spotlight, considering AJ had almost like her Mania moment last year when she retained in the Vicky Guerrero Invitational tournament. So yeah, it was nice to see Paige in there. I enjoyed it. It's a good performance, I think.
I'm trying to remember the finish for this one. I can't.
AJ, so Paige and Brie are fighting on the outside, and AJ submits Nikki Bella in the Black Widow.
Yeah. This was actually, I have to say, this was one of the Bare Divas matches I've seen for a couple of years. Very, very competent tag match. I liked the kind of experimental idea of AJ Lee being knocked out for quite a large part of it.
Yep.
I've given this a 3, as has Tom.
Yeah, I thought... I think like they've had a few slightly better matches maybe on the Raw and SmackDowns leading up to this. Obviously, they tend not to be tag matches, and when you've got two singles, particularly going on at it for maybe like 10-15 minutes, you can have like quite a good match. It felt maybe a little bit rushed and a little bit kind of crammed in, but obviously they had quite a few more matches to come and a few long segments. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good considering what we've seen beforehand, and I've heard that there is some major changes coming in the division quite soon.
So really? Are we talking more NXT girls?
Maybe. Hashtag Give Divas a Chance seems to have really done quite a lot for it. And yeah, I've just heard, I don't know whether it's going to be NXT people coming up like Charlotte. I know she's ready to go.
There's a phone.
But yeah, on the whole, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good.
I would be all for that. I mean, the Divas matches I've watched so far on NXT, I haven't watched. I'm trying to catch up with NXT.
Yeah.
What I've seen so far, I've been really impressed. I gave this 3. Tom gave this 3. And bright future for the Divas division, hopefully. I would have liked to have seen the title up for grabs, but...
I think they might be building towards it, I'm hoping.
They decided not to go for that. Then we got a tail of the tape for the World Heavyweight, that's gone now, the WWE Heavyweight Championship, in which basically they looked kind of... The stats looked pretty similar, but it's Lesnar. So.
Apart from accomplishments, you're looking like they were both 6'3". I think Lesnar had about 20 pounds on him, maybe, because obviously it's Lesnar. But then you look to their accomplishments, and I think they had Reigns, winner of the Rumble. And then obviously you look at Lesnar, and he's like champion, broke the streak. He's won a Rumble. He's youngest ever WWE champion. Blah 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 blah. And you just got Reigns like, I'm here too. I was in the Shield.
Won the least popular Rumble of all time. Well, the Bautista Rumble.
Maybe joint least popular Rumble of all time.
Oh, the last 2 Rumbles, dearie dear. We got highlights from the Hall of Fame ceremony. Emotional as always. I haven't actually watched it. I don't think I will. I think it went on for 4 hours this time. So
I've watched a few of them, but yeah, it's what you expect from the Rumble, really.
So yeah, all of the Hall of Fame inductees came on the stage afterwards. We got the Fink, obviously. The Fink came back, and we had Rikishi, didn't we? Zabisco. I'm trying to remember all of them
Medusa. Or Alundra Blaze. Sorry.
The sad story of the fan Conor Mikulik who passed away.
Kevin Nash,
who came out. That's what we should discuss. Nash or Savage. Well, they couldn't bring out Savage.
So yeah, we had Larry
Poffo,
or
the
Lanny.
genius.
Is it Lanny or Larry?
Oh yeah, it might be Lanny.
I think it's Lanny.
I think he was the genius.
Yeah, so he was the genius and brother of the late great Macho Man Randy Savage. I know that there's been politics regarding Macho Man's induction. Obviously, WWE would have liked to have had him in probably the year he died, if not earlier. But the Poffo family were holding out because they wanted kind of the whole family to be inducted. But it's good to see that they have kind of let him in. And Triple H has done a really good job. I don't know whether this was his doing as well, but I know that he brought back Bruno Sammartino, and he's done a really good job of kind of like extending olive branches to those that have somewhat cut the cords a little bit. So, good news for CM Punk. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Triple H was kind of saying that often it's not necessarily that something really bad has happened, although there are rumours that something really bad happened with Randy Savage. I've heard. Don't know what that is.
No.
Something, I actually have no idea. But it's often the fact that one side bitches about and the other, and then it all kind of goes out
like
of control.
Ultimate Warrior last year. And that was what Conor McCallick won as well.
Yeah, it's all about kind of... Oh yeah, the Warrior Award. It's all about coming back together, as it were, in classic, lovely WWE ending. Have we forgotten anyone?
Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count. I think that's everyone, isn't it?
No, did you say Bushwhackers?
Oh, the Bushwhackers as well.
I think.
I love that he did the march with his.
Yeah, so he had his crutches. So he had to do the march, and then when he was trying to raise his arm, he just kind of it was a bit awkward. But I think that's it. That's like 7.
I think
I'm Savage, obviously.
If we've missed anyone,
we're sorry.
We're very, very
sorry. I'll go through it and I'll shout out if we have.
Then we got a video package ready for a match I wasn't really looking forward to be honest. The Bulgarian Russian brute Rusev defending his US title against Mr. Robotic, Mr. Superman John Cena. Out came the lovely Lana, who had the weird. What would you even call it?
Polar bear.
Just as a polar bear, really. What is that? It's not a scarf.
It's got a picture in front of him. He's staring at Lana.
What is this?
It's like a scarf. It's like a body warmer sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's just meant to.
Why are we discussing this?
It's meant to emphasise the fact she's from the white, cold Russian. Yeah. I imagine.
So yeah, her holding of the US title was somewhat undermined by the fact that there were tanks, Russian soldiers.
Yeah, the Cold War is alive and well in WWE.
But it's the Russian nationalists this time and not the communists.
True, yeah, I mean, depending on Rusev, I'm waiting for him to come out with a hammer and sickle. But we'll see how it goes.
Oh god, I just called Putin a nationalist. Oh dear, that's not going to go down with her.
I'm sure he's a regular. He'll be angry with if he hasn't got angry at WWE yet.
Yeah. So yeah, out came Rusev and he came out in a tank.
He did come out in a tank, which it is his debut Mania. You don't see many people get that sort of treatment in the debut Mania. If you think about a few people like someone like Paige, I know they're not going to invest as much time. You're giving Divas a chance, but you're not giving Divas a tank yet. Yeah. But you haven't seen many people in their debut Manias come out with that sort of entrance, and that should hopefully show the esteem to which they're holding this character, and I think he will do well in the future. He's kind of like a modern Umaga sort of figure almost.
It just bores me.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that he needs to expand his moveset a bit, I think.
I think he's a crap Rhino.
I feel like if you've seen one Rusev match, you've kind of seen them all, apart from this one. You know he's going to win via the accolade, whether it's a tap out or a knockout, if you like. It doesn't really matter, and it's just he's very athletic and he's very good at what he does, but I think he just needs to expand it quite a bit.
And then we got we had a classic WWE. Well, actually, we got this with Aleister Black as well. America's Rolling Hills, and oh my god, we had Reagan and Bush in there, which I felt were controversial. Obviously, Bush slightly more than Reagan.
Yeah.
Controversial inclusions, but obviously they would be the people to use, as they were a bit more patriotic, a bit more traditionalist, as it were, than... we had Obama as well, to be fair.
We did have Obama, yeah. We had a few... was JFK in there?
Yeah, we had JFK as well. No Nixon.
There was also an eagle.
Obviously an eagle.
Yeah, all the big symbols. I was waiting for a hot apple pie cooking on a windowsill. I
was waiting for a comment on multiculturalism, undermined by, you know.
They had there were references. Were there references to 9/11? Like kind of like subtle references.
No, there were.
They showed the World Trade Center or something like the new one, like kind of like this is the big thing, and you know, like respect. But do you need to bring it in all the time? I don't know. It's an odd one. I mean, Rusev didn't cause 9/11. leave him alone, basically.
They didn't have the classic all the races coming together in the melting pot kind of thing.
That was the Sting Triple H one.
Out comes Cena. Actually got a fairly positive response because people didn't want to be associated with Putin.
It was either be Russian or be pro Cena.
Yeah.
Some people went and just cried in a corner at that stage.
Apparently Rusev made Eden announce him first. He shouted.
Yeah, so obviously the tradition in title matches is introducing first the challenger, blah blah blah. But Eden, who is doing quite a good job actually. I
like Eden.
She's taken over well. I mean, Lillian Garcia has been promoted to where Justin Roberts was, and Eden's gone on to SmackDown now.
I miss Justin.
Yeah, poor Justin. Rusev stopped her and made her announce him first as kind of like a hierarchy sort of thing, but you know.
We had the US title match. Rusev with Lana against John Cena. There is one thing I want to pick out here. I think you might know where I'm going. It was a cool move by Cena. It was a different move by Cena.
Yeah.
He did like a springboard stunner.
Yeah.
Off the ropes, which I thought was cool.
He's known for pulling it out a little bit in these big matches, not necessarily being a better wrestler.
Just do it all the time.
But he brings out like these special moves, so you see things like Hurricane Rana's come out, or I don't know, these top rope leg drops, which you don't see all the time. That one's become a bit more mainstream.
He didn't do his classic weird splash thing.
Didn't do the weird splash. It was a cool move. I've read that it was officially an elbow. Like a springboard elbow.
It wasn't.
But no, it really didn't look like. He grabbed the head almost and he did the sit down. And Rusev's reaction definitely sold it as a stunner as well. I don't know whether there was some sort of throwback. It was very Rocky sort of the throwback, but it was a good move. I'm impressed.
If it wasn't Rocky enough with the tank.
Yeah.
And the video promo. Anything else you want to pick out from me? I found it pretty standard, to be honest.
First pinfall loss for Rusev, worth mentioning.
Yeah.
He's gone unbeaten now. He debuted at the 2014 Rumble. I'm not sure if he was actively wrestling on Raw subsequently after that, but yeah, his first pinfall loss, so obviously that's a big deal. And also Cena being a mid-card champion as well. It's the first time that's happened in however many years. So
long.
So having Bryan and Cena as your mid-card champions, there is a lot of kind of expectation and hope that they bring back some prestige to those titles. Whether or not it happens is yet to be seen. Cena had a match against Ambrose on Raw, which is quite good.
I can't see the US title getting as much.
What, as the Intercontinental?
Yeah,
there's not as much talent. That's the issue. Like you're looking, like I said, if you have a Sheamus, Barrett, Ziggler, a Bryan match, and then obviously you're expecting a Cena Rusev rematch. I know which one I'd rather see. So I don't know. It's difficult, but it's cool to have Cena taken away from the main event, if you like, for a little bit.
Woo! Yeah, and I forgot about Lana trying to hit Cena with the shoe, and
that was really weird. Yeah, I feel like she was meant to hit.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
she missed, and then she took off her other shoe, kind of like, should I throw the other one?
Cena did well there though, because he went over. Afterwards, yeah.
The end coming about via Lana's interference as well. Lana got up on the ring apron. Cena went to try and get her off the ring apron. Rusev barges into her. He's like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And then Cena hits the AA.
I thought he was going to kick out.
Did you?
Yeah,
he kicked out of one, didn't he? At that stage, I think he'd kicked out of one. It might have been his second. But it's cool to see that they still kept Rusev strong. It wasn't just you're better than me, you win, even if it was heading that way.
How'd I do?
Yeah, it was still Lana's fault, if you like, and it'll be interesting to see where that story goes as well.
Yeah, we've both given this 3 out of 5, just kind of your standard mid-card kind of thing. Then after this match, we've got a commercial for WrestleMania 32 next year, which is on April the 3rd, 2016. in the Dallas area.
Yeah, they're trying to set records for that one. I know. Obviously, they're doing that every year. But if you think some of the biggest stars of the 90s and noughties came from Texas, you've got your Michaels, your Austin, your Undertaker, your JBLs.
Come back, JBL.
So
Can't promo.
We're thinking a few maybe special matches coming up at that event. And I know that the AT&T has the potential, I think, to break the Mania record in terms of capacity. So
really above 93.
I have a feeling that they're going for it.
So good. Well, that 93,000 is disputed.
Yeah, but I've heard
it's real, damn it.
That's why they're pumping it so much at WrestleMania 31. Obviously, they got a year to promote it, but I think they really want it this year.
And I really hope Sting versus Taker happens, but who knows? Then we went back to the kickoff panel. As per usual, strong showing from these guys. Renee Young, Booker T in his Charmel with his Cool Bunches mode. We're saying Booker looks like his wife. I don't know why. It's just an ongoing joke we have.
It started about 6 months ago, a year ago, just some of these pre-show kickoff things where he's just got his bun up, and then suddenly you're like, that's Charmel, and then now he's got it. He was quite funny actually on the pre-show with his book. That was quite good.
I love Booker anyway, so no problems with me there. Corey Graves, of course, can no longer wrestle, but doing an awesome job announcing, and Byron Saxton, who's awesome as well.
SmackDown, who's at the moment
the voice of SmackDown.
Yeah.
They wasted some time. They talked about the kickoff show. There was then a massively long promo with started off with Steph and Triple H kind of doing their heel thing, blah blah blah. Steph was awesome, as she often is.
She was really good last night as well on Raw. She's becoming one of the better talkers in WWE, certainly modern, if not in a very long time.
So they came out to announce that they'd obviously broken the attendance record, or in inverted commas, broken the attendance record. You're never sure with WWE. 76,976 people crammed into Levi Stadium. They did some bragging, and then obviously someone came out. I thought it might be Austin, but it turned out to be The Rock.
It did, yeah.
There was no Austin. The whole thing.
Did you expect an Austin?
Yeah, just for a little...
I'm thinking next year, if we're going to see Austin, it's going to be next year, 32. I don't know how old he is now, but he probably, obviously he's got his injuries, but if he's going to wrestle again, it's going to have to be sooner rather than later, and I think in Texas, that might be where we're seeing that match, if it ever happens. But I feel like he'll be there in some capacity regardless, just because obviously it's so convenient.
I'd be shocked if he wrestled.
Well, again, yeah.
And worried.
I'm worried every time I see a few of the people in there at the moment, though, so...
So The Rock came out and did some blah blah rock things. And Steph told him to get out of her ring.
She slapped him.
That was a massive slap.
Yeah, so she tried it on Sting, and Sting knew it was coming. The Rock clearly had not watched Raw that night.
So loud.
It was one of those things, so The Rock commented that Triple H left his balls in Steph's purse, I think. I think that was what did it. And then Steph kind of stepped in and went, whoa, hang on, a slap. And then just kind of inadvertently slapped, and that led to one of the... Not better moments, just one of the more interesting moments of the night, I think.
So yeah, The Rock pretended to leave, and Steph said something like, "See you later, Dwayne," and I thought that was really funny.
Did a lot of that, yeah.
But he then came round on his right side of ringside.
Yeah, close to the camera.
Closer to the camera, and he picked out UFC bantamweight champion, Ronda
women's
Rousey.
bantamweight.
Well, yeah.
Although the way she's going at the moment,
she can fight anyone.
She might be the China of WWE.
China's number 30 in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So he picked up Ronda Rousey, who wasn't stopped by security coming in. So this is obviously a planned segment.
I don't think any security would want to try and stop Ronda Rousey at that stage.
And then there was some more talking, blah blah, and Rock made a hilarious joke about jump rope with Steph's fallopian tubes.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, the strongest line from that segment wasn't necessarily like all the jokes and stuff. It was Steph was saying how like this isn't the octagon, this is the squared circle. You're in my ring, and then Ronda just takes the mic and goes, "Any ring I step into, I own," or something like just something along those lines. And that was when you're like, oh. This is going somewhere.
A segment that doesn't go anywhere. Seems unlikely. So there was tension build up. Blah. Well, what was the line that really kicked it off? I can't even remember.
Well, I think Rock saying something about Steph's fallopian tubes didn't help. Triple H got angry, and then he was like, "You're not going to talk about my wife that way." The Rock was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to talk about that." Bang, bang, a few Rock hands, and then Triple H is out the ring.
Yeah.
then Ronda does her business against Steph.
I didn't actually. I liked the first. Oh, she flipped her over, which is pretty cool. I liked.
She flipped Triple H over.
Oh yeah, it was Triple H. Sorry, yeah.
She
more wives merging into their husbands.
She dropped Triple H, got him out of the ring, and then she. I mean, it was nothing special, but she just basically locked Steph McMahon's arm. It wasn't the armbar, which is being so associated with her now. Obviously, there's.
She basically held her arm.
Yeah, but
Love you, Steph.
to the extent where, I mean, they are friends in real life, but to the extent where, I mean, it hurt her. But it's cool to see UFC and WWE doing that and merging together. I don't think Dana White, who's the president of UFC, will allow her to be in a match in any sort of capacity, but I could see maybe at SummerSlam or something, her managing The Rock, if you like, and being at ringside. Because I know she's a massive fan. She was at the last Mania as well. Her and the Four Horsewomen.
I probably won't be watching any UFC, so I'll probably miss that.
I watch a bit, so I know a little
me
bit.
To death.
And also, like we said, we might be seeing Punk there sometime around the October period. I've heard. So I've got to go and watch that.
So yeah, this segment for me went on way too long. It was like 20 minutes long, but yeah, it was good fun. It was okay. The fallopian tubes gag was amazing.
Yeah.
And Steph, Dwayne, get out of my ring. So yeah, then that finished, really long segment, and then out came Bray Wyatt was there a promo before this? I can't remember. There wasn't the pre-show.
Yeah, there wasn't the pre-show. I don't know whether they actually had time to do it in the real thing. I think that segment might have overrun somewhat. There was a lot of just, especially when Rock came out, there was a lot of, if you want him to talk, yeah, we get it, you're excited, he's here, let him talk now, sort of thing. But yeah, Bray Wyatt Taker was next.
Yeah, so Bray Wyatt made his entrance. He was followed by some creepy dudes or zombies or something.
Scarecrows.
Scarecrows. They look like the villain Scarecrow. And then we had the Undertaker. Wow. Annoyed with the light again.
Annoyed with the light, yeah.
It wasn't quite dark enough for Taker.
Or Wyatt, really. Wyatt's entrance, of course, is the lights cutting. Jericho again. If he had come out, it wouldn't have been dark enough. Anyone whose entrance involves some sort of like voodoo and lights dropping just wasn't good enough. But
voodoo.
Yeah, voodoo.
Damn sunny weather. Complaining a bit classic British, complaining about the sun when it's out. So yeah, he's got way more hair than last year. He looks in amazing shape. He might have even had a little bit of a tan, it seemed. And even Jerry Lawler was like, yeah, he looks way better than last year. There was no holding back there from Lawler. That was great to see. He kind of looked like Taker from 05 or so.
People were saying he was very kind of, he had the leather trousers on and his hair was done in that sort of way. People were saying, and I know Nathan was excited about this, that he was almost kind of like Big Evil sort of looking.
I thought he was going to come out as Biker Taker.
There are rumours that might be happening next year as American Badass, so we'll see. I personally don't want to see American Badass again. Not that I didn't, that I haven't enjoyed the character looking back on it, and it seems to have reinvigorated him somewhat, considering he was doing that for about 15 years beforehand. But I feel like he's the dead man now, like Dead Man Walking. You've just got to keep that going as far as I'm concerned too. And considering he's probably only got 1 or 2 more matches left in him, is there any point changing his gimmick just for that one match?
Yeah, Taker looks awesome. The match itself was slow, I would say.
We know why that might have been though.
Because of Bray's angle.
So obviously Taker turned 55 like that weekend or something.
50.
50. That I think the Wednesday before the
he actually looked kind of 50 Sunday. At this event.
Looked kind of rather than like 104 or something. Bray Wyatt allegedly sprained his ankle on the day or a day before or something, so very kind of close to the event, and was apparently like it was a bad sprain. Like he wasn't putting any weight on it the entire day, couldn't train, and then he was wearing a cast the whole day and he had to take it off. So you can understand why it was slow, but I think, considering the limitations which these two had to work with, it was all right. But it was, again, Taker is probably past the point now where he can put on a great match without having a great worker with him.
Yeah, trying to think of some decent spots here. Obviously, there are a couple of finishes going on, obviously with Taker. I would love to see the last ride, but I don't think that was logistically possible.
The best moment has to have been, I think Nathan's actually looking at a picture of it right now.
This is awesome.
The best moment was, the whole point of the match was the new face of fear sort of thing, Wyatt putting down Taker. Wyatt, perhaps his creepiest move is his spider walk, which, is a very cool move. He's spider walking over to Taker, having just hit him with, I don't think it was a Sister Abigail, but quite a big power move. And then Taker just sits up and they just stare at each other for a second, and that leads to the
and
final
then Wyatt,
segment.
when he did the come down, he was like, ah!
Yeah, that led to the final segment of Sister Abigail being counted into a tombstone. But yeah, that was probably the best spot, the sit-up spider walk combo.
Taker's reaction to the first tombstone kick out was hilarious as well.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
That's got to have a meme or a GIF circulating somewhere, I'd have thought.
I'm trying to think of something now. When you see that Undertaker's put weight on or something, it's like, oh, what?
It wasn't a great face. It wasn't his finest moment.
I enjoyed this match. I was going to just give it 3, but then because of how hard The Undertaker worked to get to this point, I added the 0.5 on.
I didn't. I did just give it a 3. I thought in terms of, if you're just judging a match for what it is, I think it was no better than something like Cena Rusev in terms of in-ring quality. But I had to resist putting in a 0.5 just because it was Undertaker. But I mean, it was one of those, it could have gone either way.
So the commentators mentioned that he's 22-1, which I'm not sure they should have done because it seems like a bit of a blemish.
Still, winning 22 at Mania, quite impressive. Having 23 matches is quite impressive, just regardless. If you look at some of the other, I'm not sure many people have had 23 matches at like pay-per-views like on the roster at the moment. So it's good as it goes.
So Undertaker's return there. Then we got a announcement which I was quite excited about. There was mixed reaction though with everyone else that we were watching with. The Chris Jericho podcast with special guest John Cena will be on the network after next week's Raw.
Yeah, talk is Jericho.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I would rather have Austin interview Cena, but there you go. Then we had a long video package again. Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns. Reigns took ages to get through the crowd.
He got pushed a few times, like people were pushing his head and stuff. Reigns has got to a stage in his career now where people are being so hostile towards him that it may not be smart to continue going through the crowd. Like, you are kind of tempting fate a little bit almost. Especially, I think, if there is a heel turn coming for him, which I think they'd be better to do sooner rather than later, take it while it's hot, if you like. Because obviously a lot of the issues surrounding Cena is, he's such a boring, stale character, he never changes. If they could completely quash that with Reigns right now, put in a heel turn for him, maybe have him almost side with Rollins almost, and then, I don't know, maybe that could work for a double turn at some point. But yeah, I think at some point he's going to have to stop coming through the crowd. But obviously at Mania it's such a long walk as it is. He was bound to walk past one or two people who weren't going to be his biggest fan.
So Reigns came out. There were massive fireworks. He got the fireworks around the stadium.
Both him and Lesnar.
Oh, they both did.
Yeah.
And out came Brock. Absolutely huge cheers. Heyman was there as well. He was looking in great shape.
Heyman.
There was a delay on the promo, which was annoying because it could have looked really cool. And then we were into the main event of the evening. Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar, of course, the WWE Heavyweight Champion. Have I got that right?
WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
World Heavyweight Champion, yeah. It's such a confusing title name now. Versus Roman Reigns. And Brock just completely came out the blocks here. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen Cena, Brock at SummerSlam 14, then you'll know kind of how this one started. It was very similar. He hit an F5 very early on. Suplex City, biatch, he hit a lot of suplexes. Heyman was counting them at ringside. I think we got to double digits and then stopped.
There was actually a guy at ringside with a suplex count thing.
That's cool. It was one because the thing is, it was such a poorly built main event, if you like. Obviously, there's limit. Wyatt did so well, and I think that needs to be stated, that he had to sell that feud pretty much by himself.
Yeah.
Heyman had to do the same, and Heyman's great, but Reigns was still there, and Reigns almost diminished it at points. Like the tug of war is like laughed at between Lesnar and Reigns, where they almost like did more damage than good. But the match, and it was one of those main events which no one was really looking forward to, and WWE seemed to have written themselves into a bit of a corner. Everyone was like, we just want to see Brian Lesnar, geez, let us see Brian Lesnar. But I think they did as it went. I think they went the right way about it, having Lesnar and Reigns look as strong as possible, really.
So the opening of the match was just a complete destruction of Roman Reigns. We thought it was going to be another squash, which I would have been quite happy to see, to be honest.
I was happier to see what did happen, though.
And he got the upper hand because they went outside and
So it kind of went at stages. Lesnar was on the whole the kind of like smashing it basically, but Reigns did bust Lesnar open quite early. A hit to the chin and a hit to the cheek, I think, both made him bleed a little bit. And I don't know whether those were on purpose or not.
They seem to kill each other at points.
Yeah, so it got very kind of like legitimate almost. Because one of the promo lines which they used was Lesnar's human, I know he can bleed. So I was like, I wonder if they bust him open early to just kind of emphasise this point. And that was more emphasised when they went outside. Lesnar looked like he was just going to throw Reigns into the ring post, and then Reigns reversed it as someone so often does. And he bust Lesnar open, and it was bad.
Horrible.
A lot of blood. And I thought maybe it was a blood capsule. He was on Raw last night, and he did have staples in his head, so I wonder if it was legitimate. And I think that worked out quite nicely for WWE, that whole, I know he can bleed. But Reigns got the upper hand through that.
So when we're back in the ring, Reigns, built some offense, hit the three Superman
So yeah, 2 couldn't knock him over. He kept kind of bouncing off the ropes, Lesnar. He never really went down. He just looked stunned, and then the third one took him down.
Then we got a couple of spears from Reigns.
Yeah.
Lesnar kicked out after 2.
First person, I think, to kick out of the spear from Reigns.
He went for another Superman punch, but was caught by Lesnar. I thought this was it at this point. And Lesnar hit the F5 on Reigns, but both of the guys were out. They may have been legitimately just absolutely...
That was a 4th F5, I think, at that stage, which is more than Taker took. And he broke the streak on that. So
Reigns beats Taker.
Well, Reigns kicked out of 3, I think. So it's not. I'm not saying that he could beat Taker, but I'm saying that
I don't want to see that.
I'm saying that they've built Reigns to be almost as good, if you like, at this stage in both their careers. Obviously, you don't expect Taker to be as good as he once was.
He couldn't cover him, and then we got the big reveal of Seth Rollins coming out, cashing in his Money in the Bank match, making it a triple threat match.
Mm-hmm.
I was disputing whether this was like a continuation of the match or like another match. I guess it was a continuation.
It's happened before, but not with Money in the Bank. I know that Edge came in one time, maybe a match between like Triple H and Jeff Hardy, I have a feeling.
Right.
And Vicky Guerrero was like, we've got a new entrant into the match, and they just chucked Edge in, and they just made it a triple threat match. I can't remember what event this was. It was probably about...
But was that at the start of the match or halfway through?
It was after they were both completely knocked out.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously he can make a title match whenever he wants. That's the beauty of Money in the Bank. I saw a lot of people writing that he's this generation's Edge. I don't know whether that's a fair comparison, whether Seth Rollins is just his own superstar at this stage, whether he is really, because I remember saying while he was at the Shield that he was this generation's Jeff Hardy. I don't know whether he's almost kind of become taking the best qualities of both, but it was good, and it was probably the smartest way they could have finished that.
Rollins came to the ring, hit a curb stomp on Lesnar. Reigns was still outside the ring. He went for another curb stomp on Lesnar, but Lesnar caught him. But Reigns came back in and hit a really sweet spear when Lesnar...
He was almost on his knees when he hit it. He was like dragging Lesnar down with him.
When Lesnar had Rollins up for the spear, and then we got another... the F5. So many moves! And Rollins hit another curb stomp on Reigns. He covered for the 1, 2, 3. The winner of your main event and new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I think I've got it right that time.
Yeah, I think so.
Was Seth Rollins. Oh my goodness, a cash-in at Mania. Finally.
First one ever.
Finally, the what everyone's been waiting for has happened. We had a cash-in at Mania, and we hopefully no longer have to deal with Roman Reigns being in the title picture for a bit.
We shall see. I mean, Raw didn't look good.
I just think he needs a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. He was the greenest member of the Shield coming out of it. Dean Ambrose is the most over. Seth Rollins is probably the best in the ring. Dean Ambrose is best on the mic. The best thing Reigns is kind of like presence. He's got that kind of like star quality, which those two don't have, and it's not something which you can... I think it's something which Cena has, which a lot of people don't. It's difficult, but I'm glad that Rollins came away with it. Actually, there was a little video released. Allegedly, Rollins whispered into Reigns' ear as he pinned him, like, "Thank you so much," or something, and you can kind of just hear it. I tried to listen, I couldn't, but apparently he whispers that, because obviously they must have quite a good working relationship, having done NXT together and the Shield for 2 years. But I think Rollins winning it was the smartest way to go. You still got Lesnar looking like an unstoppable, unbeatable beast, because he didn't get pinned. You've got Reigns not having the title, which is probably what's best for business at the moment.
Thank goodness.
And you've got Rollins walking away, and he's almost legitimizing the authority a little bit now as well. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well done to Seth Rollins, who's probably the performer of the show.
And the creative team.
And the creative team.
Who on the whole did okay.
Yeah, we will get to an overall analysis after we have... Well, we both gave this match 4.5 out of 5 stars. A tie for me with Trip Sting for you, by far the best match of the night.
Yeah, it was. We're looking at these kind of ratings as the whole event as you like. So including the cash in. If I was just looking at Lesnar Reigns, it wouldn't have got quite as high because obviously, like we said, up until Reigns' comeback, it was a glorified squash. And how do you judge those really? But yeah, Reigns' comeback probably pushed it to maybe a high 3.5, coming up to a 4 sort of thing for me. And then obviously the Rollins cash in was great. And also I like how far he had to run. That's nice. He had to run with his Money in the Bank. A good, I don't know however many meters or yards or whatever you want to call it, but it was a long old run there and back with the title.
So we might as well now go to an overall conclusion of what for me was probably one of the most consistent wrestling shows I've ever watched. Couldn't really pick out a very bad match. There wasn't a Kane Carly. There wasn't a Mark Henry Ryback for me. It was very consistent. Not the greatest Mania for me, but certainly would easily make top 10, pushing top 5 perhaps.
Yeah, for me it was... I'm comparing it a lot more so to pay-per-views which I've watched recently. If you look at the Rumble, it's better than that. I mean, it's one of the big 4. I know it is the big one, but one of the big 4. It's better than the Rumble.
Fastlane was terrible as well.
It's better than Fastlane. I mean, it was good. I don't know whether it would probably be close to my top 10 in terms of Manias. Obviously, there are some classics which aren't going to be moving from their spots anytime soon. But I thought it was consistent in terms of like a match of the night. It would either go to the main event or the Intercontinental. There was a lot of good spots in the Intercontinental which just couldn't have been done in a one-on-one or a triple threat as it eventually became. But I thought the triple threat format worked well, and I thought that whenever you see Lesnar perform in WWE, he always does such a good job that he could almost like carry Reigns if you like. But that's not saying that Reigns didn't do his part. He was good considering what many thought was going to be a pretty dodgy match.
Our average rating for both of us ended up coming down to a 3.5 after we'd rounded up there, although it was close to pushing a 4 for me. But there you go, we both came out with 3.5 out of 5. The best show I've reviewed so far on the WrestleReview. Not that hard. Considering I only reviewed 2 and they were WrestleMania 1 and the Wrestling Classic.
Yeah, I'm yet to see the Wrestling Classic, in its full glory. I've heard there's a lot of matches to go through.
15.
But the WrestleMania 1, nothing too difficult to beat there.
We might as well finish up now. I'd like to actually thank TGR Wrestling, the John Report, for I rather lazily didn't write a script or review for this one. His review's been really helpful for this. Just like to say he has put WrestleMania 31, if I can just count it up, 6th on the all-time Mania list.
6th on his list, that's quite high.
So top was 17, then he's put 19, 21, 30 last year, which was also an awesome show, 20, and then 31 there was 6th. What did you put last? Let's have a look. WrestleMania 9. I'm not that shocked. And great. Second last is WrestleMania 2. So tune in for that next time, guys.
Look forward to that.
Oh dear. Thank you to anyone who listened today. Thank you to Tom for coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been good fun. Good to have someone else here rather than me just incoherently rambling like some sort of manager trying to G up his
squad.
Yeah, his wrestler. If you have been listening, please like, share, subscribe, and repost and do all that stuff. Thanks very much again to Tom. I will see you next time for WrestleMania 2, which is looking like an absolutely shite show, but I will try and make it as fun. I'm sure there'll be some funny moments if it's shite, so that would be good. Sorry to those who wanted to hear that on the next show, on this show, but it will be on the next one. And see you later. My goodness, we've been rambling for 1 hour and 13 minutes.
It's a classic.
We did. It's oh my god, it's one of the best restaurant reviews I've ever heard. Not that hard, considering what I've done so far. And I will catch you guys later. Farewell. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.